Set Phasers, a highly illogical Star Trek podcast.
Well, hello, Aki.
Well, hello, Stevie.
Hello.
Hello. Here we are.
Here we
Season
are.
finale.
At the end. We are at the end. Huzzah. We made it.
At last, we've reached the end. The final curtain. What song is that? I don't know. I think it's Sinatra or something.
It must be Sinatra. Isn't it New York? No, it's not New York, surely. I did it my way.
Oh, it's my way. Yeah.
Yes.
I did it my way. Well, welcome to Our Way, Set Phasers, a highly illogical Star Trek podcast. As you know, my name is Aki, and I burst into spontaneous song.
And my name is Stevie, and I don't do that. I hit sound effect buttons.
You hit sound effect buttons.
It's my trick.
Yes, and today we are talking about the season finale of Season 2 of Star Trek Picard, entitled Farewell. It is Stardate 221050.6.2, and gosh, what what a wonderful, crazy trip it's been. Am I right?
You are. Good Lord. What a time.
What a time.
Did you see this ending coming?
Like part of it, but certainly not all of it. Certain things I was like, wow. You know, I have to say, very satisfied. Love a rom-com ending. Very happy. Very happy with things.
We both love a rom-com.
The angry nerds feel about rom-com endings, but I'll say I'm in the Venn diagram where Star Trek plus, they get together in the end is a wonderful feeling.
Lots of get-togethers. Everyone pairs off. Poor Elnor. He's the only one that doesn't get a love interest.
Well, but he's young. He's so young. He's a Romulan. He'll be alive for years. Oh, a lot of problems were solved. I can't believe none of us thought of the very simple thing that,
Nicely wrapped up in a bow.
They must have been like, wait till they see how we do this. But before we get into how they saw us, how they did it, let's talk about how we do this and talk about Patreon.
Yes, we have Patreon. Huzzah! Patreon.com/setphasers, where you can join us. You can join us for our live streams. We actually have a patron currently joining us. Kevin, hello to you.
Kevin.
Yes, this is only available for our patrons. You can join us for Zoom hangs. We like to hang on Zoom. And we're still trying to figure out how we will do our formerly Netflix watch parties and now possibly some sort of synchronized watch party, a bit like synchronized swimming, except it's less effort. But you can do all that and more, of course, with us on patreon.com/setphasers.
Yes, you can, and you'll have a great time doing it. I guarantee you'll like the way you look, etc. Save the last S for savings. So, with that said, shall we run it down?
Let's.
It's time to run it down.
Can you run it down for me? Talk about Picard now. Run it down for me.
Start over, Picard. We finally got it. Listen. If we talked about timey-wiminess, this is when the time gets completely unwimied. We begin with Picard noticing that the bullet holes in the house are the same bullet holes that he remembers his family pointing out as being from the Nazi era. The Nazi era. But those are the ones that the Borg made, so maybe they're thinking this was the right move, we're on the right track, but there still is the problem. Yes, okay, Borgati is gone. Took the ship, lost the random bounce, went off to the Delta Quadrant to do whatever Borgati is going to do. But now they've still got their issue where they got to save Renee, and Adam Soong is in the wind. Talon knows something when she hears about this. There need to be 2 Renees, one who lives and one who dies, but says they'll discuss it later, which I don't think she has any intention of doing. They beam to Talon's apartment. I wrote boom instead of beam in my notes, by my bad. And they are able to locate Soong. He's at his apartment, I don't know, flat, beautiful mansion, beautiful poolside LA house, whatever. And Talon is saying that she's going to transport into launch day because they're going to break quarantine because today is the day that they go in, get in the ship, fly, and she's going to watch out for Renee because that's what her job is to do. And just as she transports away, Picard steps into her smoky transport bubble and goes with her, surprising the whole crew. We hit the credits. We come back. Preparations are indeed beginning for this Europa mission. And Picard is trying to stop Talon from what he thinks he knows she's going to do. He thinks that Talon's going to sacrifice her life in order to save Renee. Picard thinks there must be a different way to interpret what was said by Jurati. But Talon says, "You can't stop me. Your fate, my fate, is not yours to decide. She doesn't need saving. She never has." So, while that's happening, the team beams into Soong's place. They hear his voice, and he's talking about some kind of drone launch, but it's just a recording. But then they realize, oh, shoot, Soong is at the launch because they find that out. But they see there are still 4 heat signatures in the house. This is a weird house. And they open up a closet, and what are in there but 4 drones about to launch. 3 minutes and 45 seconds till they go. Rafi figures that Soong figured that they were going to try to come there and try to destroy them, and indeed they are rigged to blow if they even but tamper with them. So she's going to try to get manual control. Meanwhile, Talon goes, I think she beats somebody up, takes their clothes and their thing. Maybe she just knocks them out gently. And she's able to infiltrate the Europa mission people. Soong is there, and he's being very petulant and rich and dumb, and he's demanding he wants face time with the astronauts because of the money he donated. And the person who's with him is trying to be like, oh, okay, gosh, it seems so aggressive and unpleasant. Talon goes to visit Renee. Renee's like talking to herself. She's like, today's the day, and I feel ready for it. I feel like I can do this. And turns around and she's like, who are you? And Talon's like, oh, I'm replacing Jane, who fell ill. Or
Maya.
And Renee's like, absolutely not. I know everybody that's on this mission and what their deal is. Plus, you're wearing her name tag. What is your deal? You look familiar. I've seen you somewhere. Meanwhile, Soong is yelling at his handler because he doesn't like her attitude. She's not blindly confident in herself and all the things she does. Talon comes clean to Renee. Renee has seen her before because the pendant that Renee wears is one that was given to her by Talon when her boat capsized off the shores of Martha's Vineyard when she was but 10 years old. And she realizes, Talon realizes that even though she's been hiding from Renee her whole life, she has always sort of wanted Renee to know that she was there, to sort of be seen as the guardian angel. Perhaps not the angel part, but the guardian. And she asks Renee to trust her. Rafi, meanwhile, is working on the drones. The uplinks begin. All the drones get out, and because she can't hack quick enough, but she thinks she can still get manual control of one, and so she's working on that. God, this is where it's complicated. Soong is walking down the hall after he's ditched his handler, and Renee comes running out of the room asking Soong for help because there's a crazy woman in there trying to talk to her, and Soong is like, oh, okay. And he puts his hands on his face like a creep, and then he's like, come, follow me, we'll get help. And they run down the stairs. Rafi manages to get control of one of the drones so that Rios can try to fly them. Soong, it turns out, had given Renee a fatal, fast-acting neurotoxin. Fast and fatal. And he says, looks like you're about to create the future after all. Like a bad guy. He walks off, monologuing to himself how great he is. And she stumbles down the stairs and finds Picard downstairs outside. That's when we realize it must be Talon. Because Renee Picard doesn't know about Picard. Rios manages to use the one drone to knock out the other 3 drones with a fancy bit of a ricochet. Rios Cochet. Okay, that didn't work. Talon, Renee, is dying in Picard's hand. Meanwhile, the rocket takes off with the actual Renee Picard on it. Picard tells Talon to look up. Talon tells Picard to absolve himself of the guilt he feels over people dying. And then she dies. one Renee who lives and one who dies. Nah. Meanwhile, at Soong's, the whole house is in disrepair because it's later, and Soong realizes that his mission failed because Renee is broadcasting live from Europa and talking about how great it is, and he's drinking and he's super frustrated. He smashes his glass to a case, and then he looks at his computer and he sees that his files are being deleted. He's losing all his work. Who's doing that? Oh, it's just Corey. Remember Corey, his daughter/experiment from before? She's in a library on, I forgot what they call their weird fake Oculus device, but she's in one and she's deleting all the files, and she reaches out to him and says, hey, I'm the one deleting all your files, and I'm doing it so that there's a new future for both of us. And then there's a full purge of all his files. He'll never have his information again. He's an old man alone, drinking in his beautiful laboratory with all of his money. And he reaches into a desk drawer and pulls out a manila file that says, Project Khan. Khan! They really held on their Project Khan for a long time in the episode. It was like, hey, Project Khan. Okay.
You were so right.
That's what you were talking about. Okay, I thought so. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
One of your tinfoil theories paid off.
Well, even a broken clock is wrong twice a day. What can I say? I'm going to keep saying Lorca till it's true.
Wow.
Meanwhile, Corey gets a message on her device that's like, hey, if you want to know what happens next, go to this address. Oh, so Corey's like, hey, all right, well, my life is my own. I do what I want. She goes to this address. It's on a pier, and who should she turn around and see but none other than Wesley Crusher. Let's just keep on coming, people. Wesley Crusher, Will Wheaton as the Traveler. He explains that they are the ones who dispatched the supervisors to maintain the grand tapestry of the universe, and says to Corey that there are two paths before her. The first path leads to a perfectly normal life. The second, that's the path that leads to everything else. It will give her life purpose and meaning, but he cannot guarantee her safety. And Corey's like, I've never been safe. Let's do this. And Wesley welcomes her to the Travelers, and they beam right out of there. Oh, yeah. So, Corey Soong's timeline wrapped up. She joins the Travelers. Back at the chateau, Rios has collected all of the, quote, butterflies that they think they might have dispersed throughout the timeline there, all the badges and the things and the tricorders. Seven is still not sure that it's worked, but Rafi is like, it has to have worked. Otherwise, everything that we sacrificed and that we lost had no meaning. Also, they're totally stranded in the past. And so what are they going to do? And Rios is like, well, you guys could come to L.A. Because he's like, I'm definitely living my whole life with Teresa and her child, Ricardo. Rafi checks in to make sure Seven is all right. And it's like, hey, I know that we're stuck here and whatever, and now you're a Borg and you don't have a ship, but it's not like you got to, be around me all the time because I'm thinking about exploring my own options. Don't have to be, super weird or whatever. We can just be cool about it. And Seven cuts her off with a beautiful kiss. And so they're back together. In earnest, we think, at least for the time being. That's all good. They're like, listen, if we're going to spend our time in the 21st century, we're going to spend it together. Picard is on his own at that hallway to the door where he had the key and let his mom out. He takes the stone out of the wall and hides the key, putting it back in place. Another bit of the timeline preserved, alas. And then he hears the voice of Q. Bravo, destiny. Left for the little boy you will be in the future to find. And then we find Q at long last, sitting sadly in the solarium. I thought pretty good on the alliteration there. Q knows that Picard thought of destroying the key, but he knows that Picard chose the timeline that he needed to choose to be the Jean-Luc that he is. And so, at long last, as was posed at the end of the first episode, Jean-Luc is absolved. It was about forgiveness all along, says Q. But Picard says, why? And Q says, know thyself. But Picard is still like, why? And Q's like, finish the sentence. And Picard says, why? Me. And Q is like, hey man, I'm dying. I'm going to die alone. And I don't want that to be what your life is like, buddy. Because even though I'm basically a god, you're one of my favorite weirdo mortals ever since the beginning. You're so sweet. I love you, bro. And he's like, hey, you're now unshackled from your past. You've confronted this thing. And Picard still wonders why it matters. And Q says, does it always have to be a major thing? Is it always got to be about the end of the universe? Can it just be that, you know, it matters to me that you end up happy? And also, I got one last surprise in store for you. What surprise could that be? The whole gang walks out of the thing and they go into the vineyards, and there they meet Q. Well, Rafi wants to kill him. Why? Because remember, Elnor's dead. He's like, you can certainly probably kill me in my weakened state, but you definitely, the effort of sending you guys back to your timeline is going to kill me for sure. And he's like, and Rios is like, oh, okay, but I'm going to stay. I never really fit in the future, and I want to stay here with Teresa and Rios. He's home. Picard tells him to make a good future. Rios says time is a funny thing, and Q says, oh, it is. With Rios staying, Q says, maybe there'll be some surplus energy for a little surprise gift. But it's time to go. And before he does, Picard gives him a hug so that he knows he's not alone. And one final time, Q snaps his fingers. And we're back in the present. Remember the ship in the first episode that was being attacked by the Borg, but the Borg was only stunning people. Everyone was running around. Everyone was on the ship because they had the whole thing, because they got that message from the rift in space that needed the Borg wanted to join the Federation, and it was all crazy. But Picard now turns around. He hears the music, the song about not being worried about anything or whatever in French. And this thing, he cancels the auto-destruct sequence, and he orders the crew to stand down, and he allows the Borg-queen to proceed. The song was one that he knew, that she knew, that his mother played for him when he was a child to calm him down, because that Borg is none other than Borgatti. Yes, Picard talks to Agnes / Borg-queen / Borgatti and wonders if it is still Agnes in there. And Agnes is like, yeah, a little bit. And he's like, what's the deal? And she's like, listen, if we don't act soon, a bunch of people will die because there's this massive spike of neutrino emissions in the center of the quadrant. It's a galactic event. And Borgatti knew the only way to save the quadrant was to harmonize the Starfleet shields of the entire fleet with that of her Borg craft, which is why she needed access to a ship, which is why she needed a friend. And Picard says, all right, fine, let's do this. They alert the fleet. He's like, you know what? Captain Rios is gone. So he turns around to Seven. He's like, hey, this ship has got some Borg, artifact technology on it. Field promotion. Captain 7 of 9. 7 of 9?
Yes. Oh, is that a dun-dun-dun?
Play it. Yeah. Captain.
Oh!
Yeah.
Sorry, you want the 7 of 9s. Okay.
Of course.
I'm sorry, so sorry.
As she sits in the chair.
She's the one, the only. She's 7 of 9.
She's 7 of 9.
7 of 9.
7 of 9.
It's 7 of 9. Captain 7 of 9 to you, my friends. And she's like, great, tell the whole fleet to stand down. Borg-queen, do what you got to do. I'm in the chair. Let's make it happen. They are put into a big grid formation in front of this weird anomaly. It's a bright anomaly. All the ships harmonize their shields with the Borg. But one ship is not working. It's the Excelsior. Ships are off. They contact the Excelsior, and who should respond but Elnor, who's like, Raffi, you're there? Huh? How? The last thing I remember is I was on La Serena fighting that. And she's like, yeah. Oh, God, the gift from Q. Elnor is back, ladies and gentlemen. So he resets the shields, and the crazy event goes off. There's light and fire and streams and pulsing rings, bloom, 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 bloom. And the bright enamel, it's high in the sky. Everyone can see it from all the planets. This big bright thing happening in the center of the quadrant. It's big old mess. And it's shooting into the line of ships, and the shields are trying to hold, and it's all this brightness. Laser, space laser. But then it stops. It goes out. And it turns into a giant lavender electric trans-warp conduit, the likes of which we've never seen before. And they're like, what is the deal here? We've never seen anything like this. It's like a wormhole, but to where, or for what, or for why? Borgatti knows something of the situation, but she says this is all part of something that may be something like an attack, but that needs further observation, and that's why we, the Borg, were requesting provisional membership. I say that 5 times fast. To the Federation, so as to remain here as the guardian at the gate here at this transwarp conduit and see what happens. And so it is. We shoot now to the epilogue. Picard is in Guinan's bar talking to Guinan, and Guinan's like, yeah, okay, you want me to solve this whole thing with how this happened? I knew I couldn't tell you that I first met you the second time in that bar in the aughts or whatever, the 2020s, because you had to do that on your own. It was your own journey to go on, and so I had to be cool about it. Anyway, I figured you'd figure it out. Plus, I've been leaving this photo of Rios and Teresa on the wall forever and ever here at 10 Forward, and you never saw it. And he's like, wow, what happened to them? Well, basically, they led people through the hard times of that turbulent era. And what happened with Ricardo? Well, he was able to clean the seas and cleanse the sky with what? An organism Auntie Renee brought back from Europa. Teresa died of old age, and Rios died slightly before her in a bar fight in Morocco over medical supplies with a cigar. He lived how he died how he lived. He did all the, he was Rios to the end, basically. Picard gives Elnor a drink. They all toast to family because that's what they are, and Picard excuses himself. He goes back to the chateau. He discovers packed bags in the oh my god, I just forgot her name and I didn't write it down. What's the name? Talon's non-Talon? Laris. I was like, Talart? Latrat? Couldn't remember. Talon Laris. Discovers Laris's bags packed. Rat. She's in the solarium. I know. My life is a whole thing about almost remembering what I'm trying to say. She got the solarium restored. It's beautiful. It's nighttime. They're looking up at the stars. He asks what she'll get up to next. She says she's going to go on her own adventures. Picard says, time, and it's funny. There's so many things, memory we wish we could do again, things we wish we hadn't done in the first place. But time doesn't give us second chances. Maybe the person does. It does sound a bit like a Bob Dylan song. Time doesn't give us second chances. But maybe the person can. And Laris is like, cool, yeah, we should do that. And then they hold hands and they look up at the stars, and we pull back from the Picard estate. And here endeth season 2 of, well, Picard. Farewell. Can we chat about that? Or
yeah, let's chat about it. Yeah, so we had some doggy emergencies. Let's chat about that.
I say, darling, let's do a quick chat about that.
Yes, let's do. Well,
indeed.
Things were timey-wimey, and they got unwimeyed.
Yeah, they did. It just, I did really enjoy it. I got all my satisfaction from the loose ends being tied up. But I wonder if it was just all tied up a bit too neatly. Like, Q's main motive just being, well, I wanted to be a good pal. Like, that was just, that fell flat a bit for me. Because I was really hoping. Really? Yeah, I was just thinking there was something bigger. Oh
my God, I was so into it. It was such a beautiful bromance thing.
It was lovely.
Well, Q always ruins Picard's life on a whim, right?
But it just felt so sinister going through it, and then to just be like, hey, let's be buds, and let's have a hug at the end. Cute.
Let's have a hug, shall we?
Let's have an hug.
Let's have an hug.
Let's have a hug.
Well,
come here, lads. Come here. Let's hug it out.
Come here, lads. Let's have a hug.
There was literally not a northern accent in that entire thing, and yet I've managed to bring one in.
Not a bit, but it would be great if Q was north. I thought that I was surprised that it wasn't like, well, because there's a black hole at the center of the universe, it's going to lead to a thingy thing. There was none of that, but I thought it was nice. I do think Q often steps in the way of Picard and does all this stuff just because he's like wants to know what Picard's whole thing is about. He's like, what's your deal? You're gonna defend humanity? What's your deal? You're gonna make these choices? The last time they met, he sent Picard forward and backward in time and all good things. In this instance, Q is dying, and perhaps his best friend in all existence is the one person who understands him the best is Picard. And as he takes stock of his life and of his friends, he realizes Picard has this block, and he's like, he's got to unmoor himself from this tragedy that he's forgotten. It's driven him to madness, or not madness, but has driven him to a lonely, sad existence. I don't know. I thought it was sweet.
Okay.
It could have been cooler.
When you say cooler, what do you mean? Like, did you have
It
an
could have
idea?
been. I mean, now that I know what it is, I was just so satisfied with how much hugging there was at the end of this episode. But, if it had been like Q was trying to figure out, he needed the thing and the key, it was the key to Picard helping him go to the continuum and beg for his life to continue. And then that's what got the crew back together for season 3 and so on and so forth. But I was very satisfied with this whole season. I thought was a cool way to set up this third season.
I'm wondering what on earth they're going to do with the third season now. Like,
What do you
it
mean?
almost tied it up so neatly. I was like, where like, it almost doesn't seem to be a need, except for the fact that they opened a big trans conduit thing.
There's a huge trans conduit out there, and Corey is part of the Travelers, and there's some sort of attack on humanity or all sentient life in the quadrant, and Jurati is the queen of the Borg.
All right. Fair enough.
Tell me you're the queen of the Borg. Okay, so I think that it seems to me if they were you could get the crew back together to go through the transwarp conduit.
Oh,
See what's on the other side, right?
Interesting.
That's my theory.
Find out where it goes. Okay.
Yeah, because I think Borgatti says that it's part of some sort of attack. They don't fully understand what the attack is for or why. So then it also belies Q's whole thing where he says it's not about a galactic event. It's just about me being your friend and wanting you to be happy. But then also, as soon as they get back, Rafi's like, oh shit, it's a galactic event.
Yeah.
Which they needed Picard there for. And he needed to be able to trust the Borg-queen, which means he had to remember that the song was a song from the childhood with his mom, which means he had to resolve all of his mommy issues, which means he had to go back and remember the whole traumatic situation with his mother and his father. It's all connected, man. But you're right. It was a little, I mean, I guess I liked that it wasn't, what I liked about it was that it wasn't what I expected. I didn't expect Q to be like, hi, I'm sad and dying, at the end.
Yeah, I didn't expect that either. But
Borgatti, a Borg that can have friends.
I mean, that was obviously where it was going, was because, the
Yes.
beginning question was, who is the Borg-queen? And you correctly guessed some maybe halfway through, oh, it looks like it's going to be.
I mean, at first, I think, we all wanted Jurati not to be taken over by the Borg.
Yeah.
But then we realized it's inevitable. So yeah, it's cool that it is Borgatti.
I don't know. There was a part of me that was disappointed that Jurati didn't come back to her normal self, but I guess, I mean, maybe at the beginning I was like, oh, maybe she'll kind of sort her shit out and then she and Rios can be together. And that's the rom-com ending for those two, but not to be.
Not to be. They challenge our expectations. I bet they were like, here are the things that people expect to happen and how many of them we're going to have them work out. Like, we got our Rafi 7 combo, which is like, a little bit of more rom-com-y in that I think we knew the whole time that they were going to end up back, having resolved their issues and back together, but that they both had to go on a journey of loss and discovery before they could truly embrace one another without excess baggage, being a Borg or being manipulative, afraid of being alone. Rafi has all those abandonment issues, and Seven has sort of the opposite issues, having been part of the collective. So I thought that was sweet. Rios and Teresa. I mean, I'll miss Rios. I really enjoyed his contribution to the show.
And now he's dead. Deader than
And
dead.
now he's dead. He's time dead. He's dead, doubly dead.
Mm-hmm.
As
It's a
far
bit
as we
timey-wimey.
know.
Leaving him there is a bit timey-wimey.
Leaving him there is timey-wimey, but he didn't. But the thing that was cool about it is that they didn't say like, and then Rios and Teresa had a kid, and their kids, Marco is the one who discovered a way to clean the seas or whatever. It was like she already had this kid, Ricardo. Like probably all this would have worked out, but Rios being there connects Teresa and Ricardo to Renee Picard, allowing all that to happen. Anyway, and I guess Ricardo seeing what Rios had as a spaceman allowed him to dream bigger than perhaps he might have done. I don't know. There was a lot of timey-wimey. It's weird that at the end they're like, "Oh, we just collected all the things we left behind and we're good now, right?"
Yeah.
Got our badge, got a thing. Talk to the FBI agent, like, "Hey, man, just don't say anything to anybody." Great, cool. Were there other people who saw crazy stuff? Can't remember. Anyway, they wrapped it up. You're right. It was very neatly wrapped up. But the climax was like 25 minutes in. Talon dying, and then the rest of it was sort of like Wes returning and taking Corey into the Travelers, and Q having a heart-to-heart with Picard, and then seeing Borgatti in the future, and the transwarp conduit. I don't know. I feel like that was all a desire to explore Picard's inner emotional landscape.
Yeah, pretty much. The whole thing was a platform for Picard and to resolve his mummy issues, I suppose. Mummy and daddy issues.
Yes. But also, then, is that going to change the way he is with his crew? Is he going to be like super huggy now with everyone in the crew next season? He's going to be like, "Hey, I'm not weird around kids and stuff anymore," like a total Picard.
Well, he definitely had. He softened. He softened in season 1 anyway. Remember when he was chummy with Elnor when he was a kid?
He was, but he also only sort of, and then had that he has like a weird strained relationship with children that he knows. He's lucky that Elnor is Elnor, and that Wesley is traveling through time and space as the Travelor. I once did a gig with someone who I think was the niece of the actor who played the Traveler.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know why you need to know that, or the internet does, but I did it once. Anyway, I thought it was cool. She was cool, and it was cool. Should we move on to quotable moments?
Quotable moments!
Any quotable moments about at you, Stevie?
I liked the one at the end. The very final quote, if you like. And I can't find my notes. But yes, the very final one was my favorite, I think.
The one Picard says?
Yes. As he's
there are
walking up
moments
to
in our lives we fear to
Yes.
relive, and others we long to repeat.
Yes.
When time cannot give us second chances, maybe people can.
Yeah.
I can't really do a Picard, but yeah, that was a pretty good one.
That was definitely a speech moment.
Jean-Luc, sometimes I think the only reason I come here is to listen to these wonderful speeches of yours.
Yeah, well, speaking of wonderful speeches, Q hit him with the big stuff. Humans, your grief, your pains, fix you to moments in the past, long gone. You're like butterflies with your wings pinned. And then when Picard is like, but seriously, why did it matter? He says, must it always have galactic import, universal stakes, celestial upheaval? Isn't one life enough? You ask me why it matters. It matters to me. You matter to me. I thought it was very, very sweet. Gosh, I have so many. Talon calls him Sweet Picard. Sweet Picard. Your guilt must have saved planets by now. Countless lives in trade for the one you couldn't. I got to tell her maybe she'll remember me and know she was worth all of it. You helped me give that to her. Absolve yourself, or the only life left unsaved will be your own.
Indeed.
Indeed. There's another one that I will do. At the very end, when we see Borgatti and Seven gives her control, Seven says, Agnes, be brilliant, and Borgatti says, always. Which is a sign that Agnes is still in there. She also calls Picard Mister, so
Yes.
we know Agnes is still kind of piloting the ship. There was a lot of great stuff in this episode. So many wonderful things. Gosh. It's hard to say goodbye. Oh, Rios, when he says he's going to stay in the past, he says, I never fit, nothing stuck. I mean, I was living alone on a cargo ship with 5 holographic versions of myself. Not very encouraging. So maybe he does belong in the past.
Maybe.
With cigars and his beautiful hair. Any news? Should we go to news or should we go to next time?
I don't have news. Well, obviously, the Strange New World pilot. Well, I suppose is it a pilot or is it just episode 1? Because clearly they've made
Did
the
you
whole
watch
thing.
it?
Yes, of course.
I haven't seen it yet.
Watched it.
I didn't want to get
Dare
distracted.
you?
Well, listen, it came out last night. As of the recording of this, I was like, okay, I watched Picard. Should I watch Strange New Worlds and complete? No, I gotta wait till Friday. Sorry, don't tell me anything. All right, well, let's just go to next time.
All right then.
Next time on Set Phasers.
Well, next time on Set Phasers, I guess we'll talk about episode 1 of Strange New Worlds. The title of which I don't know. I haven't looked up anything about it.
I think it's literally just entitled Strange New Worlds. I was trying to figure that out, but yes.
Great.
It is.
Thank you so much for joining us. If you enjoyed the program, please find episodes of our podcast wherever you get your podcast from. We've talked about all the new franchises of Star Trek and some of the old ones a little bit every now and again. So please just find us, and we drop new episodes every Monday whenever we can.
Become a patron, patreon.com/setphasers. A big thank you to our commanders, Chad, Kevin, and Kyle. Thank you so much for being on this journey with us. We look forward to continually going boldly with you on our continuing mission of finding new Star Trek. I did not think that through. But yes, patreon.com/setphasers. We are having a Zoom hang very soon. We are in the month of May, so we're in the planning stages now. But please do join us. It would be fun, and we would love to see you there.
Oh my God. We're on Facebook and Instagram also as Set Phasers Podcast. Feel free to follow us and join in the conversation of all things Trek, meme, game, strong, Matt, Stevie.
Woo! Good
You
job.
know what I just realized? Before we do this?
What?
We didn't do Faith of the Heart for talent.
Oh, should we?
Yeah, turn this music off. Turn this
Oh, hang
music
on a minute.
off.
Wait. Hey, that's
Finally we
the
got to use
first
it.
time I could fucking use that. Oh dear.
It all worked out in the end. Talon, we don't know why you hated Guinan and said you would claw her eyes out through the voice of a small child, but you helped Picard move through a lot of internal drama. Literally, you entered his mind and your eyes went milky white. Also, you sacrificed yourself for Renee Picard so she could fly to Europa and come back with a weird organism that would save the planet. But also, you looked a lot like Laris, and that was weird for all of us. Nonetheless, for your sacrifice, you had faith of the heart.
Expertly done.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Totally impromptu. Back to next time.
Back to the actro. There we are.
Yeah, and we're back in the outro. Anyway, yeah, please, we're on Facebook and Instagram, and if you want to hear sweet content like the stuff that we make right here on the fly, off the cuff, you'll find us there. I think that's it.
Okay, great. Well, till next time, I'm Stevie Mans. Where did you go?
I just was laughing at the way you said, okay, great.
I was multitasking. It's hard work being here.
Okay, great.
Ah!
And I am interested. And I'm
Are you a Borg-queen? Oh, are you a Borg-queen?
I'm Borg-queen. Stevie, you come through with the win. You did it. You did it. And I'm Borg-queen.
Computer.
Next time.
Oh, shit. Computer. End program.
Oh, sweet Lord.
Yeah, this is hard work. Lots of new buttons.
Yeah. Well, listen, we did everything we said we would do.
Ooh.